Hello, all. I wanted to come on and I wanted to have like a discussion about the EPPP. Now, if you've seen my other videos about the EPPP, basically those center on me preparing for the EPPP. It focuses on test strategies for the EPPP and those sorts of things. But I want to have a different conversation because yesterday I received an email, and this email was from my state licensing board. And this was for a survey to see if there should be an alternative to the EPPP. And I immediately took the survey because I do think that there should be an alternative to the EPPP. I feel like there should be alternatives to a lot of these licensing tests. So after I took the survey and kind of went down a rabbit hole, just reflecting on my time taking the EPPP and this and that, and I came across this announcement that the EPPP put out July 1st of 2024. And at that point, I really was kind of on and off studying and this sort of thing. But July 1st of 2024, the ASPPB, they're the ones who put on the EPPP. They put out what they call an important EPPP announcement. And one of the things that they talked about in this announcement was that they didn't feel that the EPPP was a barrier. Here's what they say. The EPPP has never been and they put barrier in quotations, to entry into the profession of psychology, but it is an important gatekeeper to ensure the safe and competent practice of psychology. So that's interesting. Considering that they don't feel that it's a barrier, let's talk about that a little bit. So the cost of the EPPP is $680 whatever dollars, right? Now, while some people have not had to use a test prep company and these sorts of things, the majority of the individuals who take the EPPP use some sort of test prep company. So $680 to take the test. And then I'm spending an additional $300, $400, $500, $600 to prepare for this exam. Because there's not just like one book or whatever. People are having to sign up for test prep companies to pass this thing. Now, when I was first studying, and if you go back and look at some of my videos about the EPPP and my preparation, I did not start off with a prep jet. I didn't start off with a test prep company. I started studying by myself like I had done for previous exams. I had taken the National Counselor Examination. I've taken the School Psych Praxis exam. And basically what I did to prepare for those were to use internet resources, Quizlet, YouTube, things that I could find online. So the naivety of going into this EPPP, I was like, I don't have to use a test prep company. I've passed these other exams and I just used internet resources. This is a whole different type of exam. And again, while some people somehow, some way pass this thing without using a test prep company, again, most people have to shell out money for a test prep company. I use PrepJet. I thought it was worth it. It was definitely worth it, considering the fact that I was just really spinning my wheels online trying to find out how to study for this thing. I remember too, I reached out to the ASPPB because the ASPPB, they put out this booklet. It's sort of like this guide on, I guess, domains and things that that you need to concentrate on to help you pass this test. Now, the domains are very, very, very broad. I'm looking at it right now. I have the ASPPB. I have the handbook up, right? They outline the 8 domains of the EPPP. So I'm looking at biological basis of behavior, which is 10% of the EPPP. They put these knowledge statements in here under each of the domain. Let's look at one of the knowledge statements for biological basis of behavior. It says that you should focus on functional correlates and determinants of the neurobiological and genetic basis of behavior pertaining to perception, cognition, personality, and mood, and affect in normal, acute, and chronic neurobehavioral disease processes and disease comorbidities. How does that help anybody? I mean, that is so broad. That's such a broad knowledge statement that how, if you were to take this guide, where do you even begin? That was the dilemma that I was having, right? Now, I'm kind of getting off a little bit here off topic here, but again, taking this information and trying to figure out how to utilize that statement to study, I mean, that it's so broad, right? So again, you turn to these test prep companies, which again, $300, $400, $500, $600, $700. I'm already spending $680. So when they say that the EPPP is not a barrier, it's very much, in my opinion, a barrier. It's a financial barrier. It's a financial barrier for a lot of people. It's so easy to say, oh no, this isn't a barrier, but it's costly. $680. Now, what I will say about the National Counselor Examination and School Psych Praxis, those were very much reasonable. And I can't even remember what the cost of those were, but it's very much a burden. It's very much a barrier to a lot of people. $680 plus test prep costs. Yes, that's a barrier for a lot of people. You know, the ASPPB, the statement about it not being a barrier, it's a barrier to a lot of people. And then they say, what do they say? But it's an important gatekeeper. There's nothing about this test, in my personal opinion, that dictates whether or not somebody is going to be a good clinician. What this tells the public is that, oh, this person passed the EPPP. This doesn't mean that they're going to be a great clinician. So again, this statement about you want the psychologists, people potentially getting into this field, to be competent and all of this stuff, well, it doesn't prove that they're competent. It doesn't prove that. Don't we already have some safeguards like continuing education programs and credits and those sorts of things? But this test is very much, like I said, in my opinion, a barrier to people. And there have been studies that have basically stated that this isn't really reliable. This doesn't really reliably predict whether or not somebody's going to be competent. So I believe that it's a barrier. It's a costly exam. And then you're already having to prepare for it, most people, using one of these test prep companies. Now, I have watched videos of other people and people who have had to retake the test, and the cost, again, is a common thing in a lot of the threads and a lot of the things that you see online. So them saying that it's not a barrier, I don't buy that. And so that's why I'm trying to do things to, I guess in a sense, create and help push the conversation of some alternatives to the EPPP. Because I can already tell you now, the studying that I did for this EPPP, I can't remember, I can remember very little of what I studied for the EPPP. So how is that ensuring that I'm competent? I mean, I'm competent because I continue to try to hone in on my skills. I have continuing education credits. The EPPP, I'm not sure how that made me more competent. Now, some other psychologists, they may have a difference of opinion. I believe that this idea of this gatekeeping, I feel like so much of this gatekeeping, and I'm not simply talking about the ASPPB, but this idea of gatekeeping, right? I understand that there has to be integrity in any field, right? I know that there does need to be individuals who are dedicated to providing quality care for people. But these tests, and it's not just the EPPP, but if you talk to people across professions, a lot of people say the same thing. It doesn't make me more competent taking this test. It proves that, oh, I could pass the test. Didn't make me more competent. So this gatekeeping that a lot of people are trying to do, I took that very personal when I was taking this test. I felt very much like, oh my God, what was going on in my mind was this company, they're trying to keep me from being a psychologist. That's how I felt when I was taking the exam. And I can imagine that a lot of other people probably feel that way. I spent 4 years in a PhD program just to come to this point. And now I have to pass this test about, let's go back to one of these knowledge statements. Major research-based theories and models of intelligence and their application. Relations among cognitions, beliefs, behavior, affect, temperament, and mood. Affluence of psychological factors on cognitions, beliefs, and behaviors. Major research-based theories and models of social cognition, person perception, development of stereotypes, prejudice. I mean, all of these knowledge statements, broad knowledge statements. And I have to study about things pertaining to these broad knowledge statements because you're saying that you want to ensure that I'm going to be a competent psychologist. This did not make me a more competent psychologist. So I believe that there should be alternatives to the EPPP. And I am hoping that there are states that continue not only just continue the conversation, but are really putting in the time and the effort to create something that's going to be an alternative. We already saw that when the ASPPB tried to implement Part 2 in every state, well, that didn't work out because there was backlash. And so let me get this straight. You want me to spend $680 for Part 1, and then you want me to turn around and spend another $300 or whatever dollars for Part 2. And then on top of all of that, then I have to pay for this money, pay this money to get a test prep company to help me pass this test. So it's not a barrier, you say, but for a lot of people, it very much is a financial barrier. So anyway, I really hope, again, that states will really invest the time to create something different, alternative to this EPPP. I'm not liking the fact that I have to spend out all this money after I've graduated and worked so hard to get my degree on a test that, like I said, in my opinion, doesn't make me more competent as a psychologist. So that's some more food for thought. I would like other psychologists to be more vocal about their opinions about the EPPP. Now, they may very much disagree. They may feel like the EPPP made them a more competent psychologist. They may like the fact that there's a test that they passed that other people are struggling to pass. They may very well like I passed on that first time and that makes me so much more special. Some people love that. Again, it's not just the EPPP, it's not just the field of psychology. You'll find people like this in every field who love the fact that there's that extra thing that you have to do that some people aren't getting through because it makes them feel more special. It feeds their own ego. It goes back to that gatekeeping. They love that. Again, while I believe every field should have integrity, it is, in my personal opinion, this isn't adding to that. That's just my personal opinion. But I'm going to continue to try to make videos and to discuss the importance of alternatives to licensing exams and talk about the burden that this does have on a lot of people, financially, emotionally. So I hope that you all enjoyed this video, and I will be back with more videos.